and welcome to Tntv News at 4. I am Atat Charles on the news. Voters' education was the key discussion between management of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and Nativity Communications Limited as they exchanged ideas at the agency in Port Harcourt. The report. Staffs of Nativity Communication were welcomed and familiarized with the heads of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The team, which was led by the editor of the Neighbourhood newspaper, Kelechi, observed that the courtesy visit was aimed to help promote voters' education.
We've been looking for an opportunity to also partner with INEC, and that's why we're here today, sir. One, as an opportunity to familiarize with your commission, and two, to seek ways we can partner together to also work towards sanitizing our electoral system, towards strengthening democracy, which are some of our social responsibilities.
Representing the resident electoral commissioner, Henry Ayomamo, said the agency is open to partnering with the public with the aim of maintaining a credible and visible election in the state.
The ICT department of the commission is working extremely hard to improve on activities of the commission during elections. We are improving on the software. We carried out almost work nearly 100%.
The event ended with photographs by both parties. Sequel to the resurgence of Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Acting President Yemi Osibanjo has directed the Federal Ministry of Health to step up surveillance activities at the nation's border posts to prevent the dreaded disease from seeping into the country. The report.
The mere mention of Ebola comes with apprehension because of the deadly nature of the disease. Although the current outbreak was reported in Congo, as experts will always say, one Ebola case constitutes a threat to the rest of the world. The minister was at the port health stand at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport to ensure that the sophisticated thermal cameras installed at both the arrival and departure halls of the international wing of the airport are in perfect condition as the country steps up surveillance in detecting fever of any kind.
The directive follows the report on the activities of the Ministry of Health in preventing the dreaded disease in the country for the second time.
What we need to do is to step up preparedness at all our borders, land, sea and air, to ensure that we could quickly identify a probable case, offer additional screening and quarantine so that we do not get Nigerians infected with Ebola.
The Federal Executive Council at the meeting, chaired by Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, was equally briefed by the Minister of Health on preparations being made to guard against other diseases prevalent in rainy seasons, such as cholera.
We've also alerted state governors about the possibility of cholera outbreak at the beginning of rainy season, so we need to be on top. We're working with international partners to develop a robust response to measles. Measles occur January, February, March, so that we can do a nationwide vaccination later this year with respect to measles.
Council had interaction with Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission on the continuous voter registration exercise. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Muhammad, briefed the media on this interaction.
It's not a general, registration. It's not a registration whereby new cards are being issued. It's largely for those who were not 18 this time, when we had the last election. It's meant for those who have lost their cards. It's meant for those who need to move from one state to the other to vote. And it's meant also for those whose cards have become defaced or destroyed for replacement. And that is an offense, actually, for you to have two, voters' registration cards.
Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, gave an update on the Kashimbila Dam project.
We got an augmentation of 46.15 billion naira. That will be enough. 24 billion has already been spent by the contractor. He has spent more money, there's done more work then the actual augmentation, we will actually receive commitment from the contractor that there will be no further review and that this project will be finished within the next 12 months.
Council also looked at a 2.5 billion naira project for the augmentation of infrastructure in some satellite towns in the FCT.
The project is an extension of road network, rehabilitation of 31 different roads, short spans of roads in 5 sectors of the area. That's the Karu village extension itself, the Red Brick Estate, the Primus Hospital, the orphanage, and the Karu Hospital, as well as the police station, as well as the road opposite the EFCC training center, and then of course the FHA Phase 2.
Commander of Operation Delta Save of the Nigerian Army, Apochu Suleiman, says the mission has rescued 2 kidnapped victims in the state. The report.
News conference in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital. The Operation Delta Safe Commander, Rear Admiral Apochu Suleiman, told journalists that raids at the Oluwasiri and Agbedima creeks of Brass and Ekeremo local government areas of the state led to the rescue of 2 kidnapped victims and recovery of firearms from the hoodlums.
The mandate of the force, which is essentially to protect oil and gas infrastructure, deter and prevent sea robbery, crude oil theft, militancy, and any other forms of criminality that will affect or impact negatively on the economy of the Niger Delta region. During the operation in Oluwasiri particularly, the troops rescued 2 kidnapped victims. Items recovered during the operations include medium caliber guns, 12.7 mm to be precise, 1 HK rifle, 1 RPG launcher, 3 AK-47 rifles, 3 pistols, and several rounds of ammunition.
I was stating for their is 50 days I'm staying with them. Some then they release some then they kill them when they didn't get money. They requested me to bring my people to bring 10 million to them, and my people they didn't get even 1 million. This very day where you are discussing is the day where they are going to kill me today. Almighty, he can walk the way he like.
News conference.
Well, we're going on a break, and when we come back, Lagos State Government, Akinwumi Ambode, has commissioned a road.
Nigerians, our fearless officers and men of the Nigerian military are winning the war against Boko Haram. Today, all occupied territories have been recovered and Boko Haram has been degraded. Our affected brothers and sisters are getting their lives back. However, they are now after you and me. In our mosques, churches, schools, motor parks, markets, entertainment centers, and public gatherings. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me. Nigeria, unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the Neighbourhood Television News at 4. I am Atat Charles. Now, Governor of Lagos State Akinwumi Ambode has commissioned Ujodu Bega, one of the axes known for traffic jam in Lagos State. Adeduja Salam Adeniyi tells us more in this report as the new Lagos edifice was formally commissioned.
Burger Bus Stop, one of the major entry points to Lagos State. Before now, traffic gridlock in this area was hellish, to say the least. Governor Akinwumi Ambode came up with 2 pedestrian bridges, slip roads and laybys to decongest the traffic.
The construction of this footbridge has reduced the number of avoidable deaths on the highway. The barricades from both sides of the road prevent pedestrians from crossing. And the lay-bys also blocked motorists from picking and dropping passengers on the road, disrupting free flow of traffic. All of these measures brought sanity to Baja bus stop.
Pedestrians and motorists could not hide their joy following the evident transformation.
It's a transformation from 0 to 100.
The Lagos state government they are really trying. I appreciate them.
The go-slow stopped. No more go-slow here. If some people came to Lagos, they don't believe this is a beggar. They will say that it is a beggar or they see the front. You are telling them this is a beggar. You just climb the bridge and cross to the other side.
Speaking on the interventions in Ojoju Burger, Governor Ambode said his administration at inception identified the area as one of the major traffic flashpoints that required urgent attention.
This decision was informed by the strategic importance of this axis being a major gateway into our state. What we set out to achieve with this project was to ensure smooth flow of traffic along the express and then safeguard the lives of our people.
Speaking of free flow of traffic, Governor Ambode asked the VIO to quit Lagos Road, noting that their activities were contributing to traffic congestion.
Vehicle inspection officers have been asked to stay off our roads permanently. We also advise the Federal Road Safety Corps to stay on the fringes, highways, and not on the main streets of Lagos anymore. It has become evident that these agencies contribute to the traffic challenges on our roads.
Earlier, the State Commissioner for Waterfront, who also oversees the Ministry of Works, reeled out the scope of the project.
Pedestrian bridge across the Lagos Expressway with a total length of 98 with street light, illumination and other amenities. 150 meters of lay-by at both sides of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway.
The beauty of Burger bus stop at night is highlighted by these street lights. Thousands of Lagos residents go about their normal activities without any hassle. They know that security officials at the Lagos state government have got their back.
The United Nations Security Council has held an emergency meeting at Venezuela following more violent anti-government protests. The United States is warning that the country's food and political crisis could escalate into a major conflict. Venezuela's government is now sending troops to the country's west after protests there led to the looting. At least 43 people have died during 6 weeks of demonstrations. International news correspondent John Hallman reports from the Colombian border town of Cucuta.
The aftermath of a night of looting in San Cristobal, Venezuela. Hundreds of people burnt buses and ransacked shops and supermarkets. A trail of destruction that left more than products broken.
I feel so sad and helpless to see the country like this. Now I'm left without work because of these people, without shame, without scruple.
Cristobal have been engulfed by violence. Residents say criminals have taken advantage of ongoing protests against the Venezuelan government and that there have been robberies and murders in the town. Gangs also roam the roads leading to it, cutting off supplies of petrol and food. The unrest is increasing not just here, but nationwide, and with it, the death toll. Now more than 40 people have died. UN diplomats met in New York on Wednesday to discuss what to do.
Here is a very specific, very concrete issue which could, if things go wrong, descend into conflict, could descend into a threat to international peace and security. And so we need to act in whatever ways we can, starting with our discussion today.
It's not just the political crisis and the violence that the international community is worried about. It's also the chronic shortages. Every day, tens of thousands of people cross this bridge from Venezuela behind us into neighboring Colombia, and they're looking for basic foodstuffs, medicine, things that they just can't get hold of back home. The Venezuelan government's response to the increasing international concern:
the international community should know that Venezuela will resolve its internal problems with our laws and constitution. We won't accept meddling or imposition.
President Maduro is trying to solve the problem in Táchira by sending in 600 soldiers and 2,000 National Guardsmen. That could bring security, but it could also mean yet more confrontation in such a strongly opposition town.
That concludes our news at 4. You can watch us live online at www.tntvonline.com. You can also watch us on our Facebook page at the Neighbourhood newspaper or also on the Neighbourhood Live. Also go to our website at www.tntvonline.com and search for trending news. You can also stream on our YouTube page at the Neighbourhood Television. My name is Atat Charles. Enjoy the rest of your day. Upcoming next is Magic Mouth with his program.